Hey, thanks for joining me in this devlog. I'm making a third-person shooter game where you can transform and climb stuff. In the last video I showed the game loop for Formbound, and one of the main parts of this loop is to fly a spaceship. My goal for the spaceship mechanic is to tie everything else together. It's basically a hub that allows the player to rest and to move between locations, like the world map in Mario or the raft in Raft. In this video I will show how I went from nothing to a complete shipbuilding system. In order to fly a spaceship we need two things, a space and a ship. The first thing I did was to add a new scene and make it dark blue. I also added a placeholder ship in the test location that allows players to travel to the scene. For the ship implementation there is three possible approaches. I can design a set of finished ships and allow players to buy simple upgrades. I can create ship parts with attachment points that can be connected together, or I can make a system with small modules where players can fully construct their own ship. I decided to go with the third option and make a very flexible build system. It's similar to Minecraft, where you can just place modules anywhere as long as they don't overlap. Firstly, I added a grid and basic camera controls and a UI so you can pick and place modules. I also added some categories to show similar modules together. Then I added a resource called Galloy that players can use to purchase new modules. Without going too much into the story, Galloy stands for Galaxy Alloy and it's the main building material in the world of Formbound. Because it's such an important material, it simultaneously functions as the main trading currency as well. Originally I made it so you have to buy modules first and then build after. After some playtesting I decided to simplify it and just remove Galloy when you build and re-add it when you remove modules. With the Galloy system in place I implemented the check to find overlapping modules so you can't build in the same location twice. Also I added a messages system to show info and warnings, and I added the ability to move or delete existing modules. One issue I had at this point was that players could just place modules anywhere and there was no origin or center point for the ship. To fix this I added two axes where the ship origin will always be at the intersection. This way when moving the ship it will always rotate around this point. When testing the game it was a little bit annoying to have to rebuild the ship from scratch every time, so I took the save system from my previous game and used it to implement ship saving. Players can now choose to save their ship or revert to the previous save. At this point in development I graduated my software development bachelor's, and so I had a bit more time moving forward. I also took some time to set up a simple game development portfolio. It's kinda cool to be able to see all of my projects in one place. Anyway, with saving and loading implemented, I also added the check to see whether all modules are connected before being able to save. This way you can't have random modules floating next to your ship. To see if all modules are connected, it uses a depth-first search. This means it starts at one module and marks it visited. It then gets all the connected modules using an overlap box, and if they haven't been visited, it marks them visited as well. It gets their connected modules and repeats the process. Once there are no more connected modules left to visit, it compares the number of visited modules to the total number of modules. If the visited number is lower, not all modules are connected and we can't save the ship. I then implemented a way to switch from build mode to flying mode. Originally for flying I was just going to move the ship in a fixed direction based on the number of thrusters. However, I came across a cool video from CodeMonkey where he makes a physics-based ship and decided to do something similar. Now it takes the positions of the thrusters and applies forces to the ship using rigid body add force at position. This way the positioning of the thrusters directly influences the ship movement, making it fun and challenging to control. It also allows for crazy out of control ship builds. When flying the ship you can enter docking zones. These allow the player to enter the shipbuilding station and other locations on the map. Currently they're just dotted circles, but I plan to improve the model soon. One thing I struggled with was how to connect the locations to the space scene. I want to avoid it feeling like two separate games. To prevent this I made it so your ship can easily be loaded into any scene. This way when you enter a location it actually shows your ship and you can even shoot it and climb on it. Also, using the ship you can go back into space and fly somewhere else. Now it's time for something very important. Ship stats. The ship isn't just there to look cool and navigate the map, but it also affects other parts of the game. For example, adding storage space to the ship increases your inventory size, and adding a cockpit will enable a ship compass. There is also a fuel capacity stat, where if you add more fuel storage, you can actually fly further, and adding more thrusters drains your fuel quicker. To get all of this to work, I added a generic stats system. Most ship modules have a weight and a durability. An engine block has a power output, and storage modules have a storage space value. To keep track of the overall stats, I made a stats controller that holds the combined stats of all modules. Also, I added a list of the ship stats in the UI that subscribes to individual stats and displays them to the player. With the stats implemented, I'm planning a mechanic where adding host space allows you to store hosts for the player character. You can then reuse them in different locations. For example, taking a locksmith or a hacker would enable you to open doors to otherwise locked areas. And taking a merchant allows you to blend in and explore the trading center. For now though, I just added the host space stat and moved on to something else. Blocked thrusters. Currently you can build any module anywhere. This means you can place down a thruster and then put storage space right in front of it. Even though I want to keep shipbuilding as flexible as possible, I did implement a check to see if thrusters are blocked. Otherwise you could just put thrusters in the middle of your ship and burn down your storage space when flying. Whenever a new thruster gets placed, it uses its own orientation and thrust direction to see if it's blocked. Also, whenever any other module is added, it will check its surrounding modules, and if they're thrusters, it will update them. Now it shows an indication for blocked thrusters in the build system, and it also blocks them when flying. Finally, for this devlog, I added new modules like hull plating and wings and solar panels. I then sat down to draw the final look for the modules and modeled the detailed versions in Blender. I also added a tool to auto-generate icons for every module, so they all have the same look. I think it's quite cool how many different ships I'm able to build with the current system and how it affects other parts of the gameplay. I'm curious what you guys think and if you know any existing games with similar shipbuilding mechanics. I hope this was interesting. Thanks for watching.